All right, we'll open tonight's meeting with the Board of Assessors. The time is about 6:08, I believe. And we are being taped by the West Bridgewater Community TV. Mr. Principal Assessor, what do you got for us, kid?
Mr. Chairman, I will read the state of emergency public access notice.
Please.
Due to the public safety concerns regarding the COVID-19 pandemic, this meeting will be open to the public through remote participation only. The meeting will be accessible to the public via audio conferencing capabilities by telephone. If you would like to listen, please dial 425-436-6392 and enter the access code 604239 to join the teleconference. Please be advised that the chairman may not allow questions from the listening public.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you have an appointment this evening with the HR Director,
Okay.
Ms. Linda Torres.
So she's here?
This is in follow-up to the discussion that the board had at the last meeting regarding the status of the part-time principal secretary. There were some questions that were raised that the board thought might be best answered by Linda Torres, the HR Director.
Okay. Linda, yeah, thanks for coming down. We just had...
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. That one, I'm not familiar with the state municipal statutes. I don't know if they're the same regarding, once they retire, their hours they can work and such, but that one kind of threw us for a loop. So it's too bad that didn't come out when we had the interview, because I remember her saying, I think I did, that because her company they were going to move, her state employee were going to move up to Framingham, and she was getting ready to retire because she didn't feel like making that commute. So, and now she's with us, so if you will.
So, of course, we didn't realize when we hired her that she only could work a limited number of hours as well, and she didn't realize that as well. She realized it the day after when she started filling out her paperwork. With that being said, she can only work 960 hours going forward. But right now, due to the pandemic, the 960 hours are waived. That might be waived for a year, could be waived for 2 years. No one really knows. There's also a pending legislation to increase it to 1,200 hours. And hopefully that will be approved sooner, but there's no word. I called today to see if they had any update, and they do not. So that's pending. So right now, I guess, if the board is willing to, what we can do is we can work with her, if everybody's willing to work with her, because unfortunately, right now, she can do the 25 hours, but once it goes back after the pandemic, then she wouldn't be able to do the 25 hours a week anymore. And there's a couple of options we have. I mean, obviously, it would be up to the board in whatever John would need for his department, but we could keep her at the 25 hours on the busy time, maybe decrease her hours when we're not that busy. There's also language in the contract that we can give her 2 weeks off without pay. So that might be an option.
I'm really surprised she didn't know that,
She
because
didn't.
the minute state workers retire, like my husband, that was the first thing they told us. Can only work that amount of hours.
Correct.
And that was,
Is there a reason why, Linda, I'm not, is there a reason why, like, we didn't know that coming in, or it's all new, or what?
So I knew for a municipality that you cannot, but I wasn't aware that, like a state agency, that you couldn't work for another municipality, personally.
See, now, I know some retired municipal, not state municipal workers that work more than 960 a year. I thought that with them was something like you couldn't go back in within 2 years, otherwise you had to buy it back or something. I didn't realize there was a restriction on the amount of hours. I mean, obviously, there's maybe some type of restriction, but not so low. Because I know a couple of people that have retired and gone back into part-time jobs. And, I don't know the exact hours, I'm sure it's more than 960. So.
The thing is, if she does go, and then pretty strict with the 960,
That's right.
because they, it's dollar for dollar after that, she would have to be paid back, so. I mean, again, there's a couple of options if the board and John are willing to work. I guess if not, then we still have the 6 months probationary period. We could find someone else, but I feel that if John really likes her, and I'm sure she's starting to do a good job, and hopefully she'll be a lot more efficient than the last person we had in that department.
See, there's, in that type of job, you're right, I mean, that type of job, you know, and Daniela can relate to this, there's a lot of stuff going on there, so it's a lot of extensive training, only maybe for 1 month a year, then you move on to the next thing, so it's a lot different maybe than some other jobs me, you, or her might have had. So once we get somebody in the door, and we're now training them, and they're working out pretty, you know, pretty good, then we hate to have that, you know, little niche be the downfall, because if she says, you know, she's willing to amend to changing her hours, just to keep it on 960, when that restriction gets lifted, that might work too, I'm not sure, but I'm at an impasse really, you know, because if you're gonna cut ties and start training somebody, you know, it'd be, you know, now, but I know that gives us some time, you know, so I guess we all get educated in that. John, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just a couple. It's very difficult for me, obviously, because so far so good, but she's only been there for a month, so it's really difficult to make a real evaluation.
Right.
But even, I'm just looking at the hours, so we hired her for 1,305 hours. She's only qualified by statute to work for 960, which makes a difference of 340 hours. Even if we could allow 2 weeks off, that's only 50 hours, which brings it down to 290 hours, which equals 11.6 weeks, which is really 2 months. So over the course, and it wouldn't be maybe a 2 month period of time, but over the course of the year, she would be out of the office for 2.5 months.
A question would be, because she's 25 right now, does that qualify her for benefits? I forget.
It does,
So-
up to 20, but however, right now, because she is retired, she's not taking, I think she's taking one little thing, but
Right,
she's
but-
not taking the health insurance or anything.
That's good, because I was going to suggest, what I would do with that is, you know, knock down, if this is only what, just throwing it out there, what you do is you take, you know, after the 2 weeks, you take the effective stuff and divide it by the weeks left, so the 25 hours might become, you know, 16 hours a week.
Of course.
You know, and then on those days, the 16, whatever it is, I'm not sure, you know, you adjust that schedule as to, you know, when Danielle's not going to be here, you need somebody, you know, make it a systematic or a routine, but knock down the hours to accommodate the 960. You know, if the employee is, you know, is learned and taken off in the position, we might want to think about that. Versus, you know, not being here for 2 months. You know?
Of course. But the bottom line problem is the same problem, Steve. It's 1,300 hours.
Right.
And you know that this board has been advocating for a full-time position.
I couldn't agree more, so yeah.
So we're kind of contradicting ourselves to try to make that accommodation.
You know, unfortunately, you know, for the employee, we didn't know that going in, and then, you know, and she found out after, you know, whatever, so,
And
live and learn.
in all fairness to her, when I had a conversation about this, because I addressed it immediately, I had a duty and a responsibility, an obligation, if not legally, at the very most, a moral obligation to talk to her about it. And she told me, she absolutely positively did not know. And as of 3 weeks ago, she still hadn't received her retirement package. So it's legitimate for her, in my opinion, to say she did not know.
Right.
And I feel very badly about that, and she feels very badly.
Well, I mean, you know, to us and our human resource officer, nobody knew, you know, or whatever, so
But it doesn't change the...
we're parallel to it, that, you know, not knowing, now we get educated the hard way.
So I guess she could work, I mean, if you wanted her, she could work 18 and a half hours. That would bring it to like, I don't know, 52.2 weeks, 965 hours would be close. Or you could do 20 weeks, which would bring her a little over 1,044 if she did take the 2 weeks unpaid leave.
Right.
You know,
We've
so
worked
there
out,
would
yeah.
be some weeks that we would have to make adjustments.
Right.
And be a little bit less, but
Sure. Yeah, you know.
it would be up to the board,
Right,
obviously.
once Danielle, you put your time in to train her, you know, you hate to have that all go for naught, so, but I know what you're saying, I'd rather have 2.5 gals in there, or 2.5, you know, people in there, but not, you know, not 1.4, you know?
So that's the dilemma. That's
Okay.
where we are.
Yeah.
So as Linda said, and as I told the board 2 weeks ago, because of COVID-19, she can work the 25 hours up until December 31st or January 1st. Then the government will make a decision as to whether they're going to extend it for one more year. However, to me, the critical path is the 6-month probationary period. I think we have to have, and I talked to the employee about that too, because she needs to make a decision too. And I think she's willing to get close to the probationary period termination date and then see where we are in terms of increasing the time, or not requiring the 960, but eliminating that because of COVID, or the legislation. I'm just,
I don't know about that. That would be 5 years out.
Frank, I would not rely on any expectation that the
I don't
legislation
think
is
it's
going
gonna
to
change
pass.
either, because it's been that way for
before the
years,
probationary
years.
Well, something like that is not high priority for them, I'm sure, the legislation.
I think you're going to have to.
Okay.
this thing.
And I will say one final thing to the board. We are very fortunate to have, in my initial evaluation, 2 exceptional individuals in the office. It's Daniela, and Marianne seems to be
Right.
very adept, very quick,
Sure.
and very capable, very confident. So I have some level of hope that she can be a very efficient worker, but I don't know that I could say that she could do it in less time.
The key's going to be she wants to adjust the hours. That, that's, I'm sure she can do
It'll
the
never be
job.
full-time. I don't think it'll ever be.
Okay, so we'll work on that. Is that it for that, Linda? John?
Yes.
Okay.
You have any other questions that I can?
No.
No?
I don't think
So
I'll-
for now, obviously, she'll just
Yes, can you
continue.
influence the legislature to pass
I wish.
legislation?
Maybe it will. I was gonna say for now, obviously, she'll continue working until we get closer to 6 months, and hopefully we'll have an idea,
Yeah.
a better idea at that point.
Okay.
Okay?
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Linda.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, just
What do you got, John?
my regular report, I don't have any particular announcements or updates other than what we'll cover in new business. And, regarding COVID-19, it's still a uncertain state of emergency that we're in. The numbers seem like they're maybe trending upward a little bit, but we'll see. We'll see.
Okay.
So under old business and new business, I brought this up last week, I just want to bring it up again if you don't mind, and that is the notice of intent to sell land off of West Street and United Drive under Mass General Laws, Chapter 61A, which would impose a rollback tax on the property. I viewed the property in the field, I reviewed the records of the property, I had a discussion with the town administrator, I had a discussion with the town collector. I'll only speak for myself. I got a sense of how they feel, but my recommendation to the board would be to recommend to the Board of Selectmen that they not exercise
I would.
right of first refusal.
Yeah, that's fine. I would like, knowing what I do for a living, I would like the map and some background on it, I don't know what I'm looking at here.
I didn't want to come in a complete package for everybody because I just said it would be
Yeah, thank you.
consumption of a lot of paper.
How much of that is up, the uplands? The piece is what, 17 acres?
In my field observation,
No, on the pictometry or all of them?
in my field observation,
Yeah.
most of that's wetland, most of it's marsh. But
Yeah, based on the price, it probably is.
there are 2 lots. The lot,
It's 21 acres almost, yeah.
the
Okay.
triangular lot is mostly marsh. The other lot is wooded, and there's a field where they were haying, and that's where they are proposing, Steve, if you look at Exhibit A or B, they're proposing to put I think a 40,000 square foot warehouse-type building on that parcel.
Okay. Is there a map there showing that?
I think there is, but I put together a map, I'll go to that for you. But yes, there should be a drawing in there showing the lot and the placement of the building on the lot.
Yeah, then you won't have to get that if we have it here. You have, I mean, no big deal, but you have the PRC twice here, the small one.
So it's West Street. It's that lot, and that lot. It's that lot, and that lot.
Are you gonna, is this package going somewhere? Change one of these PLCs. You get the same.
That's what they sent to us, Steve.
Oh, so it's, it
That's-
wasn't a 17-acre piece there, that's all.
So it's that lot, which is all wetland, and that lot, which is across from the old Chadwick's, where they're gonna put a 40,000 square foot building.
Question?
Yep.
So these two lots tying on the eastern side?
I believe so.
It
David
must, because, right.
David sent a letter to, an email to the town administrator for Easton, because I want to know what this total sale price is. Those two lots are $500,000.
Well, it must include, that must be the total for the east end, I mean, you wouldn't prorate. How would they know what the prorate on the sales
Well,
price?
they're just buying those two lots.
Yeah, but if it's the same owner, even if it's in 4 different towns, the sales price is the sales price.
And the bottom line is, the town administrator from Easton said, we've received no request to roll back
Right,
taxes.
but you know what I'm saying, though? The sales price,
I know,
they're not gonna prorate down this contract or that contract, no.
but it just seems to me that the purchase and sale agreement would identify all of the parcels that are being purchased
Yeah.
and the sale price.
Yeah, it has to be, because it wouldn't make any sense to have the wet and the up on this map don't connect, so why would you need,
That was one of my
Yeah,
first thoughts.
yeah. And how much, and on this piece here, the big piece, how big is the building gonna be? Say
I think
40?
40,000.
How much?
It's in that packet.
Sorry, don't worry about it, I'm just... So they put this together, the attorney?
This is what they submitted to the town, yes.
Oh, okay, okay.
You said 40, it's 204,000.
That's what I said,
I thought you said 40.
That's what I said, 204,000, sorry. No, I said 40.
You did say 40. Listen, go ahead and address for a little while, will you? Okay. That's huge.
Yeah.
Okay. So we will notify the intention of the board not to want any interest in purchasing that property for the town.
You want to do that by consensus or by vote, Mr. Chairman?
I don't know, what do you guys think? You have an opinion on that, or?
There's no reason for buy it.
I wouldn't think so.
No. No, let it go.
So
Okay,
I'll prepare a letter for the board to sign at its next meeting.
please, okay. Can you do me a favor, John, on that, if you would? If I think about it at my office, I'll get the Eastern map, so maybe you call over to Robbie, see what's going on with that, because that has to entail part of an Eastern, just the way they're laid out, they've got to meet somewhere,
I would assume, so one thing I was speculating about too, Steve, is I wonder if they owned all of that land that was essentially the industrial park, Because
If they own what?
all of the land that is now the industrial park, because this is the estate of an individual, and one of the deeds that are referenced in there says off West Street. Now, that parcel is nowhere near off
Right.
West Street, but if they owned all...
And how old is that deed you're talking about,
I didn't
1940?
research it,
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just speculating,
Yeah,
because I'm thinking it was probably a much larger piece of property to begin with.
yeah.
Not that it matters.
No, I'm surprised, well, we have that big tip right across the street there. I'm surprised they don't go that route,
Well, I think I mentioned last meeting that the signatories, or the individuals that were CC'd on the cover letter, the 3-page cover letter,
Yeah,
the last individual or last corporation listed as Ajax Advisors.
yeah, I've heard of them,
That
yeah.
may be coincidental, but Ajax owns the old Chadwick building. This is right across the street from the
Right.
Chadwick building. The building that they're proposing is right across the street from the Chadwick building.
But Chair Pack, what number is that? That's the TIF.
One.
Yeah, so it's not the old, we just said, it's different property.
This.
No, our current TIF. is on number one. What's the 35 is Chadwick's,
The
right?
old Chadwick's. And if you recall, Ajax Solar,
Is on the roof,
the
yeah,
panels on the roof.
yeah.
And I think David,
So they're buying those people there?
I think there's a suggestion that they might be putting solar on that roof. It might be all one and the same thing.
Yeah. But the closest it stands, why not, if I can go in under, if I'm the developer, and, we want to get our TIF propaganda going again, because I think that's, finding grant money out there, which they lack here, a grant writer, but, I'm sitting on the TIF committee, and I'm saying that we need more good propaganda to get some stuff in there on that. This would have been a good candidate for that.
So would you like me to call Robbie and ask him for the assessors maps on the other side? Or-
Yeah, or at least, has he heard about anything?
Okay.
I appraised the lots on the other side, the old Diplomat.
I remember that.
Yeah, and they got land going right down to this, but I don't know, that's not under Ajax, so that's under, I forget the name, but I'm gonna look at that too, but that was all wet in there,
Yeah, quite a bit of it.
yeah. I'm surprised they ran to squeeze this bad boy in there, They probably get some order conditions and all that stuff.
Daniela, did you bring in the paperwork for signatures? I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, John, yeah.
Okay.
So you get that together, talk to Robbie, see what he knows.
So you have the paperwork for your signatures, and so the only other thing for open session is the minutes of June 3rd and June 17th, which I forgot to attach the email 2 weeks ago. So I sent it to you again on those.
Yeah, I get that, yeah. Anybody have any discussion on the minutes before I make a motion to accept them?
I just have one question, John. For June 3rd, that's when we had talked about CAI technology and the contract. Did we ever do a new contract? Did they ever fix the dates?
Yes. All that paperwork has been signed.
All right, I don't remember ever seeing the contract.
What's that for the maps?
I would have either passed it around in a meeting or asked the board to sign it when you came in to sign it.
Yeah, no, I just don't remember seeing it. So when you come in tomorrow, can you just pull it?
Sure. Did you leave?
What's that, John, for the maps?
Thanks. Yes.
Nothing yet.
Yes.
I've used this system in other towns, and I think it's excellent.
I'm fond of it.
It's pretty user-friendly.
Regarding a butters list, it's made our life much, much easier.
Yeah.
We can do it on demand now, whereas before, sometimes it would be a task just to try to get it done within the 10-minute, actually the 10-day public records law request deadline. So other than that, Mr. Chairman, get a motion to
Accepting the minutes?
accept the minutes?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of, what were those dates on, June?
6/3 and 6/17.
6/3 and 6/17.
Second.
Right here, second? All those in favor?
Done.
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Should I sign these, John? Should I sign them right
Yes,
now? Do I?
yes, please. So that's it, Mr. Chairman, for open session. I respectfully request that the board make a motion to go into executive session for the purposes of reviewing applications for abatement, exemption, classification, relative to Purpose 7, Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 60, and to review and discuss strategy of pending appellate tax board cases relative to Purposes 3 and 7, Mass General Laws, Chapter 59, Section 60, because to do so in open session could have a detrimental effect on the board's litigating position. To review, no, we don't have any minutes, and I'm not planning to discuss my employment agreement unless you want to, and then you can include that in the motion.
No, I'm all set with that right now, yeah.
So
I'll make a motion that we enter into executive sessions for the reasons that Principal Assessor Donnie just mentioned. Do I have a second?
Second.
A roll call vote. Assessor Smith?
Yes.
Assessor Munker?
Yes.
McCarthy, yes.